Hi everyone and welcome to class today. So today we are going to put your legs on your arms or very close to your shoulder and into arm balance pose, which is called EPK2, Eka Pada Koundinyasana. Eka means one and Pada means leg. So Eka Pada Koundinyasana, you can think of that pose as an arm balance with the foundation arms and shoulders position of Chaturanga, and then your legs will be splitting almost like in Bird of Paradise. So we will do Bird of Paradise again too, and let's start the class on the floor sitting cross-legged and be ready for some breathing exercise. Prepare 2 blocks with you. And now let's close your eyes. When you inhale, sit up straight and sit up tall. And exhale, squeezing your belly in toward your spine. Take a deep inhale. And when you exhale, you can do the Ujjayi breath. Do you remember how to do it? You block your tongue toward your throat to make a sound when you exhale. Continue with your Ujjayi breath and feel how your exhale is very long, very calm, and at the same time very powerful. Ujjayi breath in Sanskrit means victory breath. And as you inhale deeply and exhale with Ujjayi, you can hear how long your breath is, and that sound makes you feel calm inside your mind. So later today when we go through the yoga poses, you can use Ujjayi breath to find power and calmness at the same time. Let's go through 3 more breaths. And then come back to your normal breathing pattern without the sound in Ujjayi. And slowly open your eyes. At first, let's warm up from your neck and then through your spine. So we start with the top part of your spine first by rotating your head around. Try to do about 5 rounds, very big circle to warm up your neck. Do slowly and listen to the tension around your neck and your shoulders. Make the circle bigger the next time you do it. 1 more round, and then you will rotate the other direction. And 1 more round here. Then slowly bring your head back to the center putting it right on the top of your spine. Sit up straight. You can open your eyes if you were closing. Bring your arms over your head as you inhale. And exhale, kneel to your spine, so hug your belly in. And bring your elbows toward the side of your body, hands flexing. And bring your elbows toward the side of your body. Make your arms look like chaturanga. Don't do a back bend. Try to keep your spine neutral. And bring your shoulders down. One more time, inhale, bring your arms over your head. And exhale, don't change anything in your spine. Just bring your elbows to the side and flex at your wrist into a 90 degree. Then chaturanga shape again. And one more time, inhale. And exhale, chaturanga shape. Now let's turn yourself to the floor. Put your hands down to the floor and your knees in table pose. Check in with your hands. Make sure that you are sticking all your fingers down to the floor, especially the inside parts of your wrist and your thumb and index finger. Press them down to the floor and then external rotation, opening your biceps out and your elbow crease out. And then inhale, cow pose. Keep the external rotation. Exhale, cat pose. Keep your arms exactly the same and go through cat and cow for about 3 more rounds. And then go back to the table pose. Press your hands on the floor. See if you tend to lift the inside of your hands up. Press them down to the floor and external rotation as you inhale. Exhale, bring your shoulders forward and bend your elbows, squeezing them to the side of your body, half chaturanga. And then push up into table pose again. Plank pose with external rotation in your shoulders, turning your biceps and your elbow crease out. And chaturanga, so move forward, bend your elbows and stay in chaturanga for 1 breath only. Don't lift anything in your hands up and bring yourself down to the floor. Inhale, cobra pose. And still pressing your hands down to the floor, thumbs and index finger, and squeezing your elbows in. And exhale, let's go back to the floor. Check in with your hands. Stick them down to the floor, squeeze your elbows to each other, tuck your toes. Keep your knees right here and push up into table pose again. Fix your body into table with your hands right below your shoulder and your knees right below your hips. Inhale, cow pose, and bring your right leg up toward the sky as you inhale. And exhale, cat pose, bring your right knee to the shoulder outside of your right arm. Inhale, right leg up again. And exhale, this is like mountain climber, but bend your right elbow a little bit so that you can really catch your right leg with your right arm. And one more time, inhale. And exhale, put your right knee onto your right arm and stay here. Then put your foot outside of your hand. So you're in lizard pose here. Bring your back toes down to the floor and lift your back knee off the floor in lizard pose. Inhale, sink your hip low. And exhale, bring your hips up high and try to straighten your front leg into pyramid pose. Inhale, hip low. And exhale, hips up high. Kind of pyramid pose here. Inhale, one more time, hip low. And exhale, raise your hips up high. And now see if you can press through your hands so much that you can bring your right foot out to the side and send it back into plank pose. From plank, check your hands. Inhale, external rotation, turning your biceps and your elbow crease out. And exhale, chaturanga, stay for 1 breath. And exhale down to the floor. Inhale, cobra pose. And exhale, let's go back down to the floor. Tuck your toes. This time we will push up to plank. So keep your hands on the floor, sticking your elbow crease, sticking your elbows to each other, and press your thumbs and your index finger, especially at the roots, down to the floor. Tuck your toes, lift your knees off the floor, squeeze your belly, and add the arm strength when you inhale into plank pose and downward facing dog. Walk your heels on and off the floor in down dog. Stay in down dog for a while. Bring your hips up higher and higher. And then slowly bring your shoulder on top of your hands and place your knees down to the floor right below your hips. Check in with your hands and your arms. Very important position of your hands, your arms and your shoulders in all arm balance. And then let's inhale cow pose and raise your left leg up. Exhale, bring your left knee outside of your left shoulder as high as you can. Inhale, raise your left leg up. And exhale, round yourself and really put your knee very high to your shoulder. Don't drop your foot to the floor, squeeze it up. One last time, inhale. This time bend your left elbow a tiny little bit so that you can use your arm like a shelf to put your leg on. Stay here for one breath and then let's put your left foot outside of your left hand. Lizard pose, let's pick your back knee off the floor. Step a bit further behind you into lizard pose and inhale, sink your hip low. Raise your chest up. Exhale, bring your hip up high and slowly straighten your front knee. You don't have to lock your knee here. And inhale, sink your hip low. And exhale, pyramid pose. Keep your hands on the floor. One last time, inhale, hip low in lizard pose. And exhale, bring your hips up high, straightening your front knee. And now let's press through your hands so much and you can bring your shoulder right on the top of your hands again. Ready to go to plank. See if you can bring your front leg out and back into plank pose. Check your planks, external rotation before you go to chaturanga. Take an inhale and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, you can go straight to upward facing dog or cobra pose. And exhale, downward facing dog. And take a small break in down dog. So for today, I'm going to do mostly chaturanga, but if you feel like it's too much for your arms or you lose control of how your arms work in chaturanga, feel free to bring your knees down to the floor and do half chaturanga. Stay here in the downward facing dog for a few more breaths. Then let's look forward to your hands and step your feet toward your hands. Once you stand with your feet on the floor, you can hold your elbows. Let go of your head and swing around gently. Bring your hip down a little bit. Slowly stand up into standing up straight. Inhale, bring your arms over your head. Then exhale, hands in front of your heart or to the side of your body. Mountain pose. Take a small break here before we do the sun salutation. Ready for the sun salutation. At first you are going to do hand to big toes with your right leg. So bring your right leg up and hold your right hand into your right big toes. You can bring your left arm out to keep balance and bring your right leg out to the side. Hand to big toes at the side. Try standing up straight and see how much you can straighten your right leg today. And then bring your right leg in front of you to the hand to big toes front. Keep your hips square. Bring your right hip down and back. And then let's bend your right knee. Bring your arms up and step back into high lunge pose. Inhale in high lunge and exhale. Bring your back heel down to the floor. Warrior 2. Inhale in warrior 2. Notice your front leg. Open it out. And exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior 2. And exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. Extended side angle pose. Now let's step your front foot outside, so it's at the edge of your mat, and bring both hands down to the floor. You can change your back leg position so that both feet will still be on the floor, and sink your hip lower. Bring your left arm underneath your knee. So your left arm is now holding your knee here. Bring your body to the left side a little bit. Maybe you can bring your right arm too into flying lizard pose. And then let's bring your hands back down to the floor. Raise your back heel up. Inhale, sink your hip low, lizard pose. And exhale, pyramid pose. And now push through your hands so much that you can bring your front foot out and send it back into plank pose. Inhale, plank. Exhale, go forward, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Check your hands all the time. Make sure that your thumbs and your index finger are always pressing down to the floor. So from down dog, Bring your shoulder right on the top of your hands and bring your knees down to the floor. Table pose. Inhale, cow pose. Raise your left leg up. And exhale, cat pose. Bring your left knee to the top and outside of your left shoulder. Now let's put your foot on the floor, outside of your hand. Bend both of your elbows and sneak your elbows underneath your knee. So once you are here, you can think of walking your foot forward and forward and forward so that your heel will be off the floor and you feel heavier and heavier on your arms because your legs are pressing down to your arms. Maybe walk a little bit further, keep both of your elbows bent, lower yourself just like in Chaturanga, and maybe you can bring your leg off the floor. If you can't, your heel off the floor is enough. And then let's bring your leg back. Okay. And the other leg go forward too, into sumo squat. Keep your belly touching your thigh and your hip as high as your knee. Bring your arms over your head and stay here. Inhale. And exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. Step your feet back toward each other. Inhale, halfway up. And exhale, forward bend. Then inhale, stand up straight. Bring your arms over your head. Exhale, hands in front of your heart. Take a small break in Tadasana, mountain pose, before we do hand to big toes on the other side. At first, calm down with your breath. You can use Ujjayi breath here to keep you energized, but at the same time calm you down with the long and slow exhale. And then let's open your eyes, and now we're going to do hand to big toes, holding your left leg. Bring your left leg up, bring your left arm inside and hold your left big toe. You can open your right arm, and the first variation will be the side. Keep your hip low, but try to raise your heel up high to the side and see how much you can straighten your knee today compared to the last time you did it. Then we're going to bring your leg forward. We do the front variation of the pose. You can point your arm over your head and sink your left hip down and pull it back so your hip is square. See how much you can straighten your leg today compared to last time. Then release your leg and stand back into high lunge pose. Inhale in high lunge. And exhale, bring your back foot down to the floor, warrior two. Inhale in warrior two, front knee opening out. And exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior two. And exhale, right hand down to the floor, extended side angle pose here. Step your front foot to the right side so that it's on the edge of your mat. And put both hands down to the floor. The other foot, you can change position a little bit so that you are standing stably on both of your feet. Bring your feet a bit further away from each other so that your hips can be as low as your knee. Now bring your right arm underneath your knee. Make sure your knee is right on the top of your shoulder, very close to your shoulder. And move your body weight to the right side a little bit so that you can bring your left hand off the floor into flying lizard pose. Take an inhale here. And then exhale, put both hands down to the floor, raise your back, heels up. Inhale, sink your hip low into lizard, raise your chest up. And exhale, bring your hips up and back into pyramid pose. Press through your hands very much. It doesn't matter if your front knee is straight or bent, but pick your front leg up and bring it to the side and send it back into plank pose. Check your hands, external rotation when you inhale, and exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Always pressing your index finger and your thumb's root down to the floor. Stay in down dog for a while. You can walk your heels on and off the floor. And bring your hips up very high as you push through your hands, especially thumbs and index finger, and the inside of your wrist down to the floor. Keep your hands exactly like this. Inhale, plank pose. Round yourself and put your knees right underneath your hips in table pose. Inhale, cow pose, and bring your right leg up. And exhale, cat pose. Put your right knee on the outside of your right arm. Bend your right elbow and keep the pose here. Then you can step your foot down to the floor. So now let's bend both of your elbows and lower yourself, just like when you do Chaturanga. and sneak your right elbow, your right arm underneath your foot. Now start walking your right foot forward, walking your toes forward and forward until you can lift your heel off the floor. Maybe you can push your leg into your arms so much and point your toes so that you can lift the whole leg off the floor. Just try it and then come back. Bring your back leg, step outside with your left hand, sumo squat again. But this time you're going to bring both of your arms underneath your knee. So it's like flying lizard pose, but now you're in a squat and stay here. Imagine you are trying to push your arm to your knee very much. Take a deep inhale and exhale, hands down to the floor. Step your feet closer toward each other. Inhale halfway up and exhale forward bend. And slowly stand up as you inhale and exhale, hands in front of your heart. Close your eyes. Slow down with your breath here. Use Ujjayi breath. Then let's inhale, bring your arms up and squat down into chair pose as you exhale. Inhale and exhale, forward bend, sticking your belly to your thighs. And now inhale halfway up and exhale, forward bend. Bend your right knee, straighten your left leg and keep your right hand on the floor. Raise your left hand up to the ceiling into a twist pose in forward bend. For one more breath, let's inhale and exhale. Bend your left knee too and step your right foot back a long step into twisted lunge. Put your right hand in the same level as your front foot and raise your arms up in twisted lunge. Lift your right hip up at the same time as twisted lunge. Inhale and then exhale, bring your hands down to the floor. Prepare a block in front of your toes, ready to half moon pose and stand up in high lunge. Inhale, bring your arms over your head. And exhale, bring your back foot down to the floor in Warrior 2. Inhale in Warrior 2. Exhale, reverse Warrior. Inhale in Warrior 2. And exhale, half moon. Hold your hand onto the block. Drag your back foot closer and closer. And pick your back leg up in half moon pose. Always remember external rotation on the standing leg. Look at your toes and your knees. They are a good indication by pointing them all the time to the front of your mat. And then let's bend your front knee and step back into Warrior 2 pose. Inhale in Warrior 2 and exhale, reverse Warrior. Inhale, Warrior 2, straighten your front leg this time and exhale, bring your hip back and bring your hands down toward the floor into triangle pose. Turn your chest up. Take a deep inhale and exhale. Let's put your hands down to the floor and step your front foot outside of your mat. Turn your back heel up. Bend your front knee. And this time we're going to do flying lizard pose without your back foot on the floor. So it's only your back toes on the floor. Slide your left arm underneath. And then maybe lift your right hand up too in flying lizard pose. Take only one breath here. Inhale and exhale. And then let's bring your hands down to the floor. Push through your hands so much. Press your front knee into your arm so that you can bring your leg up. Send it out and send it back into plank pose. Chaturanga as you exhale. Notice your hands. Press your thumbs and index finger down. And inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, down dog. Stay for a while in down dog. You can walk your heels on and off the floor. And cool down with your breath. You can use Ujjayi breath here. For about 2 more breaths. Notice your hands. Always push the root of your index finger and your thumbs down to the floor. And then let's inhale, bring your left leg up. Exhale, step your left foot forward to your left hand position. Open yourself into Warrior 2 and so you can stand up. Inhale, Warrior 2. Exhale, reverse Warrior. This time bring your right arm to wrap around your back. in half bounded. Inhale, warrior two, with your right arm still behind you. And exhale, we're going to do bounded half moon. So bring your hand down to the floor and do the bound pose in extended side angle. Once you hold your hand tight, let's look at the block in front of you. Bring your back leg closer and closer toward you. And then you can bring your back leg off the floor. Oops. So this pose is very hard. We try this once. Today we just see how our progress is. Okay, and then step your foot down to the floor. Stand up in warrior two again. This time we're going to do bounded triangle. So straighten your front knee. Push your hip back and bring your front hand down to the floor. The bound, turn your top hand back and bring it down toward your hip. And the other hand be between your leg and you can find your hand. So bounded triangle here. At first try to straighten your front leg as much as you can and raise your chest up. For only one breath. Then you can bend your front knee and step your back foot forward toward the same level as your front foot. Bird of paradise, now you shift your body weight to your right leg and you start picking your left leg up and up. Maybe you can bring your whole left toes off the floor and you slowly stand up with your leg now on your upper arm or on your shoulders. So once you're here, try to stand up straight and look straight in front of you. If you feel like you are very straight and stable, you can think of slowly straighten your leg. And then to get out of this pose, slowly come back and bring your foot down to the floor. Inhale, chair pose. And exhale, stand up, hands in front of your heart or to the side of your body. Close your eyes. And take long, deep breath. You can use Ujjayi breath here to calm down. Wait for your body to slow down with the heartbeat. Then slowly open your eyes. Prepare your feet into chair pose. Inhale, arms up and sit down. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward bend. Now you bend your right knee and straighten. Now you bend your left knee and straighten your right knee. Keep your left hand on the floor and raise your right arm up into a twist in forward bend. And then let's bend both knees and step your left foot back, a long step into twisted lunge. Put your left hand on the same level as your front foot and lift your left hip up too in the twisted lunge. And exhale, bring your hand down to the floor and prepare the block right in front of your right side. Inhale, high lunge, stand up. And exhale, half moon pose. And exhale, warrior two. Bring your back foot down to the floor. Inhale in warrior two. Exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior two. And exhale, half moon. So hold your hand on the block. Bring your back leg closer and closer. And raise your back leg up. Notice your toes and your knee of the standing leg. The action is from your hip external rotation, but what you see is that your toes and your knee are facing to the front of the room. And then let's bend your front knee and slowly step back into warrior two. Inhale, reverse warrior. And exhale, warrior two. Inhale in warrior two and exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior two. Straighten your front leg. And exhale, triangle pose. Bring your hand down toward the floor or the block. Inhale in triangle. And exhale, put both hands down to the floor. Step your front foot to the side of your mat. And raise your back heel up. Bring your legs further away from each other and bend your front knee and make sure that your legs are very strong so that you can be in flying lizard pose. Sneak your right arm underneath your right knee and lift your arms up as if you want to lift your knee up too. And try to bring your left arm up too. So it's a balancing pose, flying lizard pose here. A bit harder because now you only stand with your back toes on the floor. And then hands down to the floor again. Push your right knee into your right arm so much that you can lift your right leg up and send it back into plank pose. From plank, inhale, external rotation, and exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog, pressing your hands down to the floor, and exhale, down dog. Don't forget the root of your index finger and your thumbs. Stay in down dog for a while. And then inhale, right leg up again. Exhale, step your right foot toward your right hand. Bring your back foot down to the floor and raise yourself up into warrior two. Now let's bring your left arm behind you into half bound. Inhale and exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior two, still with your left arm behind you. And exhale, bring your hand down to the floor, bounded side angle pose. So you're holding your hands in the bound. Hold yourself tight. Start looking at the block on the floor. Bring your back leg closer toward you and move your whole body forward until you can slowly bring your leg up into bounded half moon. It's a very hard pose. So what you do here is see if you make any progress compared to the other time you did it. And then slowly get out of this pose. So stand with your legs straight. The next thing we're going to do, bounded triangle pose and then bird of paradise. Bring your arms out, inhale and exhale, triangle. Your top hand will bring back and ready to the bound. You can bend your knees slightly for the bounded triangle here. And once you can hold your hand, push your, try to straighten your knee and feel the force that your leg is pushing to your arms. It will happen the same in bird of paradise. Then let's keep the bound, bend your front knee again and step your back foot forward. So now your back foot will be on the same level as your front foot. Get ready to stand only on your left leg. And slowly bring your right leg up. First your right heel and then your right toes. Keep looking down to the floor until you can stand up. Bird of paradise here. If you want to try strengthening your leg, feel that force between your arm and your leg, they're pressing to each other, so that you can straighten your right leg and slowly get out of this pose. Put your foot back down to the floor. Release your hands. Inhale, chair pose. And exhale, stand up straight. Bring your hands along your body or in front of your heart. Close your eyes. You can use Ujjayi breath to calm down. Now we're going to try to do bird of paradise and then with your right leg up. And then we're going to put your right foot down and step your left leg back into bounded side angle pose. So let's do that together. Inhale, bring your arms up and exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway up and exhale, forward bend. Bend your right knee, straighten your left leg. Right hand on the floor and left hand up to the sky. Turn your left hand back and bring it down. And your right hand will be between your legs and you find your hands and hold your hands. Now standing only on your left leg. Make the bound very tight and feel your right knee very close to your right shoulder. Pick your right leg up slowly until you can stand up into bird of paradise. Once you stand up straight, look forward and maybe straighten your right leg. So you don't have to make it totally straight now. Just see how much you can get into the full pose. And slowly get out of this pose. So bend your right knee again. Look down to the floor. And slowly put your right foot down to the floor. Once you are here, step your left foot back into a warrior pose, leg position. So now you're in bounded side angle pose. Cool, right? Let's release your hands. Inhale, stand up into warrior 2. And exhale, reverse warrior. Inhale, warrior 2. And exhale, bring both of your hands down to the floor. Bring your back heel up. And we're going to bend both of your elbows and sneak your elbows right underneath your right knee. See if you can press your leg to your arm and slowly walk your foot forward and forward. If this feels too much for you, you can bring your back knee down to the floor. Walk your foot forward and forward. And now your leg is getting heavier and heavier on your arms. Notice your hands are exactly like chaturanga. Don't lift any part of your hands up. And maybe you can lift your leg up. Ooh. And send it back. Plank pose. Inhale, external rotation. Exhale, chaturanga. And lay down to the floor. Bring your hands behind you, interlace your fingers. Squeeze your shoulder blades to each other. Lift your chest off the floor. And then inhale, bring your hands away from you. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift your legs up, locust pose. And try to lift your legs up high. And then lift only your left leg. Bring your right leg down to the floor. And then change. Lift only your right leg. Bring your left leg down to the floor. Lift your right leg higher and higher in locust pose. And then slowly get out of the pose. Hands next to your chest. Inhale, cobra pose. And exhale, downward facing dog. Stay for a while in down dog and always check in with your hands position. Then let's inhale, raise your right leg up. And exhale, step your right foot to the outside of your right hand. The lizard pose again. Sneak your right arm underneath your knee. Maybe you can step your feet further away from each other. And put your right fingertips on the floor on the right side. Hold the floor with your left fingertips too. We're going to do a very weird balancing pose. So you bring your back leg closer and closer forward. And see if you can bring your back leg up. Like this. And holding your hands on the floor. And then step that foot down. Bring your back knee down to the floor. Move forward and backward into half split. And out of half split. And between half split and lizard pose. So move forward and backward for several times. And then we can try the pose again. So put your hands on the floor, bend your elbows and point your elbows, right elbow out so that it's underneath your right knee. Let's lift your right heel up and walk your right toes forward. Move your body forward too. Imagine you getting into chaturanga, you have to move forward. Okay, and press your leg into your arms so much that you can bring your leg off the floor. If you are here, press into your back toe so that you can lift your back knee off the floor. So here you are. You're already very close to the pose EPK2. Then get out of this pose. Bring your front leg back and settle down in child's pose. You can turn your palms up and move gently in your fingers, in your hands and your wrist. Take a few breaths in the charge pose. Use Ujjayi breath to calm down and make your breath longer. And then let's slowly raise yourself up into downward facing dog. This time in down dog, we're going to jump so that your feet will be outside of your hands. So look at your feet. Lift your heels up and bend your knees. You can step your feet a bit closer. Hug your thighs toward your belly and we jump. And place your feet outside of your hand. And sit down into a yogi squat. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Inhale, raise your chest up. And exhale, sink your hip low. Take a few breaths here. And we're going to try Titibhasana, the Firefly pose from the squat. So sumo squat, hips as high as your knee. Bring the blocks to the behind of your heels. Here I'm using the low part side of the blocks. But if you feel like it's very hard to put the heels of your hands on the block, you can use a medium size like I'm doing here. Try to sneak your elbows underneath your knees and hold the blocks with your fingers pointing forward. So ideally the pose would be hands on the floor and pointing your finger forward, but it's too much for your wrist now, so use the blocks is a good props for this pose. You can hold your fingers along the edge of the block, so it's less tense for your wrist. And from here you sit back and back. You lift your heels up first. And maybe you can lift your toes off the floor. And today you can add straightening your leg. So you can straighten one leg and the other leg. And then bring your feet down to the floor. Remove the block. Step your feet back into forward bend and step your feet on your hands. You can bend your knees and let go of your head. Step your toes on your wrist. Give your hands some nice massage. And then you can get your hands out of your way and slowly stand up. Inhale, give yourself a big stretch and back bending a little bit. And exhale, Tadasana, the mountain pose. Hands in front of your heart or to the side of your body. Close your eyes and try to stay here. You can use your Ujjayi breath to cool down. And then slowly open your eyes. So now we're going to do the same. We do bird of paradise with your left leg up. And then we bring the left leg down, keep the bound and step your right leg back into bounded side angle. So let's try that. Inhale, bring your arms over your head. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward bend. Bend your left knee, left hand on the floor, right hand up to the sky. Turn your right hand back and bring it down to the outside of your hip. And then bring your left hand between your legs. So now your left arm are pressing right into your left knee. Once you are here, you can bend both knees and stand on your right leg. Pick your left leg up with you. You can always look down to the floor and slowly stand up. When you can stand up straight, look right in front of you, bird of paradise. If you want to try, let's see how much you can straighten your knee for now. Oh, I can feel this time I can do a bit better than last time. So it's really, practice will make the pose beautiful. And then let's put your left foot down to the floor. Keep your bound and step your right foot back. And try to make your legs look like a warrior two. So now you're in bounded side angle pose. Let's slowly release your hands and bring your hands down to the floor. Open your front foot out. Let's slowly release your hands and stand up. Inhale in warrior two and exhale reverse warrior. Inhale warrior two And exhale, bring both hands down to the floor. Bring your back heel up. And now put both of your hands to the floor. Bend your left elbow and sneak it out to the outside of your... And sneak your left elbow underneath your left knee. You can put your foot forward so your hands will be behind your front foot. Now keep both of your arms bent like in Chaturanga and bring your body forward like Chaturanga. Make your back leg extremely strong. Start crawling your front foot away and away from you and feel heavier and heavier because your leg is resting more and more on your arms. Maybe you can lift your leg up. If it's too much, you can bring your back knee down to the floor. And then get out of the pose. Plank pose and external rotation as you inhale and exhale Chaturanga and lay down to the floor. Interlace your finger in the unusual way behind you. Take some deep breath. And then let's squeeze your shoulder blades together and pull your hands away from you. Legs up two into locust pose. So you can bring your left leg higher and bring your right leg down. And then bring your right leg higher and bring your left leg down. And continue to do that for a few more times. So single leg, try to bring as high as you can. Point your toes and feel the strength coming from the behind of your leg. For one more time. And then slowly lay down. Bring your hands next to you. And slowly push up into cobra pose. Inhale. And exhale, downward facing dog. And again, stay in down dog for a few breaths. You can move gently inside downward facing dog. Bring your hips up as high as you can. And then let's lift your left leg up. Inhale. And exhale, step your left foot outside of your left hand. Remember the flying lizard pose? We're going to do kind of the same pose, but we turn it into a balance pose by lifting your back leg up. So first, bring your left arm right underneath your left knee and crawl your hand outside of your foot. Hold the floor firmly with your fingertips. And your right hand going to the right side too. Now we are going to step your back foot forward and forward. Move your whole body forward and see if you can lift your back leg up. Think of the locust pose. You point your toes up to the sky exactly like that. And step back. Bring your knee down to the floor. Bring your hands inside the mat again. And move between half split. Straighten your front knee. Stretching your front hamstring. And lizard pose. Sink your hip low and forward. And do that for several times. So we're going to try the shape of EPK for one more time. Keep your front knee bent. Bend both elbows and move forward. Sneak your arms underneath your knee. And start crawling your foot forward. So first you can lift your heel up first. And maybe you can point your toes out and out until you can lift your foot off the floor. If you are here, lift your back knee up really strongly. So you are very much in the pose now. Okay, and get out of the pose. And into child's pose again. Turn your palms up. Make relaxing movement with your hands. Settle down here and use your Ujjayi breath to calm down. Once you calm down, slowly get out of child's pose and back into downward facing dog. Prepare your hands. We're going to jump forward and put your feet outside of your hands. So step your feet closer and bend your knees. Raise your heels up. Remember the spring. Make your legs bouncy springs. And jump so that your feet will end up outside of your hands. Yogi squat. If you're not used to squatting, you can sit on a block or put the blocks underneath your heels. So inhale, sink your hip. Inhale, raise your chest up, and exhale, sink your hip low toward the floor. Make sure your arms are pushing your legs out so that your ankle will not be collapsing inside. After this pose, we will try Titibhasana again, the Firefly pose. So you can give your hands some relaxing movement by making waves or rotating your wrist. And then let's squat in the sumo squat and put the 2 blocks behind your heels. Bend your elbows and sneak your elbows underneath your knees and hold your hands on the blocks. Point your elbows out very much behind you, so imagine you are sitting on your own arms. And you feel lighter and lighter on your feet. You can walk your toes forward and forward. And maybe you can think of straightening your legs, one leg at a time, and maybe both legs. Ooh, and get out of this pose. So step your feet back into forward bend and step your feet onto your hands. Relax your head here. Move your toes so that they give you a nice massage on your hands. And then slowly get out of this pose. So stand up and inhale with your arms over your head. And exhale, hands in front of your heart. Close your eyes. Cool down. Take long breath. As you open your eyes, let's inhale, bring your arms up. And exhale, forward bend. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, forward bend. And step your feet back and bring your knees down to the floor into table pose. Now you can stay here and watch me. I'm going to try the pose EPK 2 with my left leg first so that you can see me. So I'm going to bring my left foot outside of my left hand, bend both elbows so I'm really lowering my body, and I can sneak my arms underneath my knee. And bring the hands behind the foot. So I'm already in this position. There's a strong connection between the top of my shoulder and the underneath of my knee. Then I will start moving my whole body forward and forward. So maybe my leg will be lifted off the floor. The other leg will be lifted off the floor too, and your left leg now will be pointing to the left side like in Bird of Paradise. Go forward so much that maybe you can bring your back leg off the floor too and get out of the pose. So the shape of the pose you just did, but when you want to move your back foot off the floor, you have to move yourself forward very much, that there's no weight on your back leg, and then you lift it up the same way we lifted in the locust pose. So let's try it on the left side together. The good thing that you do yoga at home is that you can try it again and again. And all the time, pay attention to your hands and make sure that they are in chaturanga position, so all your hands are sticking down to the floor. Right, let's bend your elbows and sneak your left arm underneath your left knee. Move forward and forward. Start walking your foot forward. If you feel like you are very heavy and you cannot lift yourself up, it's because you are way too much back. You keep move forward. And point your left foot to the left side, so that it lifts up and is on your left side. Then lift your back knee off the floor and go forward so much that your back foot will be off the floor too. And get out of the pose. So I did it the first time, but I couldn't make it in the second time. How about you? Let's sit down to the floor and give your hands some nice movement. Interlace your finger and use your right hand to push your left hand forward. It's like you want to push your hand away from your arm. and do the same with the other side. So now you're using your left hand and push your right hand away and away. Shake your hands. And when you are ready, we try the other side. One side will always be easier than the other side for some reasons, because we are not symmetrical. So you discover both sides on your body. Right, so the key is to point your toes and move it to the side. So you will look like a bird of paradise shape when you are like this. So let's go back to table pose and step your right foot outside of your right hand. Now let's step your right foot more forward so that your hand will already be behind your foot. Bend both elbows. And now your right knee will be right above your right arm, as close to your right shoulder as you can. Let's start walking your foot forward and move your whole body forward too. Walk your foot to the right side so that it will be off the floor easily. Then you can lift your back knee up and go forward so much that you can lift your back leg off the floor. Whew, into EPK 2. It's really hard. I'm going to try it again. So you can try again and again, however many times you want. Okay, that was good enough. Whew. And then I'm going to squat in Malasana. Again, if you're not used to squat, you sit on the block. Bring my hands underneath my knee and squeeze my hands between my knees. You can close your eyes and cool down. It's a lot for your wrist today. You have been doing many arm balance. Then release your hands. Shake your hands in many directions. Oh, and do relaxing movement with your wrist. Let's remove the block and go back to the floor in the table pose. Keep your right hand here, but bring your left top of your hand, the top of your left hand down to the floor. Try to keep that elbow straight and make a tight fist, squeezing your fingers in and release. Squeeze very tight and release. The tighter you squeeze, the more you stretch the outside, the top of your hand. So this is wrist flexion, and the hand we always do in plank and chaturanga and arm balance is called wrist extension. There are two opposite movements of your wrist. So after extending and putting a lot of weight on them, you're going to flex them like this. And do the same with the other hand. Try to keep your right elbow straight and squeeze very tight and release. Try to squeeze a fist as tight as you can and feel the stretch happening on the top of your hand and on the outside of your forearm. And release. Okay, now let's sit down and make two fists very tight, don't release, and punch them to each other. So now you're going to put the top of your hands down to the floor without releasing your fingers. So always squeezing your fingers in, put some weight on them and trying to straighten your elbows. Try not to release a fist. Keep squeezing your fingers in. And then slowly get out of this pose. Give your hands some nice shaking movement again. How do you feel on your hands? Okay, and then let's sit down to the floor and do some nice and stretchy movement for your shoulder and your neck. So in arm balancing, we know that theoretically we have to make your neck long, but when we do it, it's very fun, and we focus so much on being balanced that sometimes we end up being here. It's fine, because when you eventually build up more strength around your body, you with the and you pay a lot of attention into your posture, you will not be like this eventually. But now, maybe we still have to accept that we still get some neck tired. We still get tired in our necks. So a good way to stretch is to sit on your hand. Let's sit on your right hand like this, and then bring your head to the left side. Support the pose with your left hand. Really pull your head to the left side. There's a big stretch on your right side now. Now you can still pulling your head to the left side, but you bring your face to look down to the floor, so it's stretching you in another side of your neck. And I feel this side so much, something on the back side of the right neck. Keep pulling. If you feel like it's the right spot to stretch, but it's too much, you can always come back a little bit and then get deeper into the stretch. And then you can bring your face up toward the sky and still pulling your head to the left. So now it's stretching more like at the front. You can touch those muscles. Pretty tight. Then you can move between face down and face up to stretch all the sides of your neck. Listen to your body. And feel these stretches. Make the stretch bigger as your body gets used to them, and you can adapt into bigger stretch. Alright, and then slowly get out of this pose. Release your hand. We're going to do the same on the other side. So sit on your left hand and pull your head to the right side. On this side, I don't feel so much on my neck, but much on my left arm. So you observe on your body and see the difference. Then let's bring your face down to see the floor, so that you are now stretching the back side of your left neck. And then turn your face up. So now you're stretching another side of your neck. Move between face down and face up. And feel the stretch on this side. Then we slowly get out of this pose. Prepare the blocks with you and put them, prepare one block and put it on the floor so that you will lay it on it and in supported fish pose. So this block will be right underneath your chest. Your head and your neck will be free, and you open your arms out like a letter T. So now relax your arms. Think of bringing your shoulders down to the floor and feel the gentle stretch at the front of your shoulder. If you don't feel anything, you can think of bringing your arms over your head or bring the block to the higher side. Make sure you can relax here. And every time you exhale, just think of how your shoulders are sinking down toward the floor. Every time you exhale, let go. You don't have to hold anything or control anything. Let your chest be held by the block and let your shoulders sink toward the floor. Feel this gentle stretch happening at your chest and the front of your shoulders. And slowly get out of this pose by turning yourself to one side and remove the block. Lay down to the floor and get yourself neutralized before you do the supported bridge pose, when you put the block underneath your sacrum. So let's bend your knees, put your feet on the floor, raise your hips up and bring 2 blocks or 1 block of the side of the height you want underneath your sacrum. Then you can straighten your legs and let your leg fall to the side. You can hold your hands onto your hips or bring your arms over your head again to open your body. Check in with your hip and make sure that you are relaxing on the block. So fix the block position until you can absolutely let go of your body weight. And let the block and the floor hold all your body weight for you. Then you have an option to do the hip opening variation by touching your feet and open your knees out. Make your legs into a diamond shape. Still make sure that you are relaxing on the block and you can just let go of any control. If you feel like this pose is not for you, you can straighten your legs or keep your knees bent with your feet on the floor. We will not stay in this hip opening pose for long. Only a few breaths. And then slowly bring your hands to the outside of your hips and close your hips. Slowly lift your hips up and move the block out of your way. Bring your hips down to the floor and stay here. You can touch your knees to each other and open your feet out in a hip closing position and hold your hands on your belly. And then you can bring both knees to the right side. Open your arms and turn your face to the left side in a gentle twist. Put your legs in any shape that will make your body relaxed. And then change side with a twist. Bring your knees to your left side and turn your face to the right side. In this side too, find a position for your legs that make them relaxed. And eventually we go to the center and get into Savasana pose. Straighten your legs, bring your arms along your body and turn your palms up. Make sure that you have enough space on the floor for your body, as now your body is in a relaxing mode. Observe your body to see if you cool down and slow down in your breath and in your heartbeat. See if any part on your body still need more space, you can lift them up and bring them back down to the floor. Let go of the control of your hips and your shoulders, the two biggest joints on our body. And feel how all the big bones and big muscles around your hips and your shoulders are resting on the floor. Feel your spine and your torso. They are resting on the floor too. And then feel relaxation going to even smaller muscles on your forearms, your hands, your fingers, and your calf, your ankle, and your feet, and your toes. Bring your awareness to your wrist on the floor. You have been putting a lot of weight onto your wrist today. Feel how your wrists are now resting on the ground with no weight, no pressure. And now you will continue resting here in Savasana until whenever you want. But I'm going to start moving and get out of this pose. So take a long break in Savasana and feel how your body is relaxing. We have been doing many quite difficult poses of today, like bird of paradise, like bounded half moon, bounded triangle, and Titibhasana Firefly pose, and EPK too. So they're all quite, let's say, intermediate yoga poses. And even if you did them or not, this is your first step into more complex asanas in yoga. So send love and gratitude and pride through all over your body. And I will see you in next class. Thank you very much and namaste.